Today's lesson is on solving integer equations, one-step equations. We did this earlier in the year with all positive numbers. We didn't have anything to worry about. Now we are going to start putting in some negative numbers. So let's first just review one of the problems that we did last fall. M minus 3 equals 9. So what we try to do, just as a reminder, when we have these equations with a variable, with a letter, we try to get the letter, the variable, by itself. So whatever else is with it on that side, we have to do the inverse operation to get rid of it. Remember that adding and subtracting are inverse operations. They undo each other. Just like multiplication and division are inverse operations. They undo each other. So here we have m minus 3 equals 9. So we have the minus 3. The inverse of subtraction is adding. And remember, we keep our every step lined up. We need to make our math beautiful. So here we have negative 3 plus 3. That disappears. That makes a 0. So we have m, and then we have 9 plus 3, and that is 12. So m equals 12. Now, let's go on to the next one. A minus 8. It sounds kind of like the beginning here, but then we're adding in equals negative 13. Don't get all upset or excited or scared. We can do this. A minus 8 equals negative 13. So we're going to get our variable by itself. So we have minus 8, which means we're going to add 8. Remember, we do the same thing to both sides. This drops off. That's easy. So we're left with a on this side. Now we have negative 13 plus 8. We have to always know what happens when we're adding a positive and a negative. We subtract, and we take the sign of the bigger number. So it is negative 5. A equals negative 5. Now let's go on to this one. P plus 2 equals negative 7. We have P plus 2, adding 2. So therefore, the inverse operation is subtracting 2. This drops off. We are left with P on that side. Negative 7 negative 7 minus 2. So we're starting at negative 7, and we're moving 2 more in the negative direction, which is negative 9. Now let's do some with multiplication and division. Negative 4 times b equals 32. So negative 4 times b, the inverse of multiplication is division. So remember what we do. We divide both sides by the coefficient. So we divide both sides by negative 4. The negative 4 and the negative 4 drop off. That becomes 1. We are left with b on this side. 32 divided by negative 4. So if we just did 32 divided by 4, we get 8. Positive divided by a negative is a negative. So we end up with negative 8. Now we have w divided by 3 equals negative 9. So we need to get the w by itself. So we are dividing by 3. So therefore the inverse is multiplying. So we are going to multiply both sides by 3. This drops off to be a 1. So we're left with w on this side. Negative 9 times 3. 9 times 3 is 27. We're doing a negative and a positive, so therefore it is negative 27. And then sometimes you might see a division problem like this. Z divided by negative 5 equals negative 9. So what we have to do is we have to undo this divided. It's the same thing as this, but they just drew the old-fashioned division sign. So we are going to multiply by negative 5. This drops off. We're left with z. Negative 9 times negative 5. So 9 times 5 is 45. 2 negatives equal a positive. Or multiplication. Remember, multiplication and division. 2 negatives equal a positive. 2 positives equal a positive. One of each is a negative. Now go practice.